just for demonstration purposes, we're not going to cut the entire meadow today, we're going to leave it for another few weeks. But I'm after cutting out a section of it here behind me using the scythe. It's taken me about 15 minutes to do this piece of work, and you do need to take some breaks. It might be nice to swap around, one person rake, one person scythe, but just to extrapolate it out, if I were to do this work on my own as one person and I was to manage an acre of a meadow, to get that all scythed and raked off, you're talking about at least 2 full days of work. Or if you're doing it at your leisure, you might want the week to do the acre if you were a person on your own. That's fine, but again, it goes back to the point we made already, that it's great to have a number of people involved in this, because many hands do make light work. So just to show you what I did, I had to start with an original line. The first cut I took was along here. And now I'm 1, 2, 3, I think 5 lines in. You can't really see it, but the grass has been cut off into rows. This particular type of meadow, just the nature of it, and because we've had a very wet, windy few weeks, a lot of the grass has been knocked over. And it's actually difficult to scythe something like this. It would also be difficult to trim it. Usually a hay meadow, a lot of the stalks of grass will be upright, just like these ones are back here, rather than being knocked over like this stuff. So, you know, that makes it at least twice as hard to cut. But we can't have everything our own way all the time. So I'll just give a demo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this line along here, and as I cut it, I'll be cutting it in that direction, but I'll be looking that way. So essentially, I cut all along the line, and my line keeps moving forward as I go along. So I'll just show you there now. Might just move the wheelbarrow back out of your way. And so on all along the line till you're done. Now we've got to do is rake off the grass. But in meadow management, we're best to leave that for a few days, because if there is any seed inside in what we've cut, it gives it the opportunity to dry out and drop onto the ground. And then in theory, we should have more flower in our meadow next year. So as we said, it would be better to leave the grass on the ground for a few days, dry out. It's actually easier to rake it up and move it then too, but it's better for setting seed within the grassland. But just for demo purposes, we've given this grass which has been scythed a rake off. If you come over here and have a look, you can see what I mean about this type of meadow being a bit problematic to be able to cut with the scythe, because this is the grass that had been knocked down, and sometimes the scythe is just missing it. The ground could be a bit uneven or so on, but we are still actually getting a cut that's reducing the overall height of the meadow from about this down to about this, and we're taking out at least 50%, I would say 50 to 75% of the sward. You have a different look when you cut with a scythe than what you would if you'd cut with a mower. It's actually a more natural look. The next thing to do with this, you could come along and you could mow it with a lawnmower, but actually for the purpose of what we're doing, managing it for wildlife, it's perfect as is. You could leave it this way now for next year. So hopefully you can see the contrast between the area that's freshly cut and the area behind it that isn't. And we'll show you that again here with the other side. So we have experience of cutting this meadow with strimmers and also with the side, and there isn't much of a difference between one piece of equipment and the other. The biggest difference is to do with stuff like noise, and how working with machinery can be impactful not just on the wildlife here but also on the people that use the park. So that's it. The ground has been raked off. As I said, we should have left it for another few days to dry out, but this is just for a demonstration, and we will come back now later in the month before the ground gets too wet altogether, and we will take a cut off of the rest of what remains.